Shalom, peace be with you, and welcome to Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Today we're looking at Numbers chapter 12. There are 15 verses. It's a short chapter. Verse 1, we see here Moses took an Ethiopian woman, or taken her, versus married her. So it doesn't seem to be that he married her. In the Septuagint, doesn't say that explicitly, at least. In verse 3, we see here that Moses was described as very meek beyond all the men that were upon the earth, versus above all the men, very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. So very similar. Just I think the Septuagint gives it a little more, makes it even a bigger gap, whereas being above all versus beyond is saying, okay, well, he's really the number one. He's way beyond, and everyone else is below him in terms of meekness. Verse 4, immediately versus suddenly. In the Septuagint, Yah did not waste any time, versus, just randomly speaking to Moses regarding this issue where Aaron and Miriam took issue with Moses because, again, he took this Ethiopian woman. Okay, next we see here, verse 6, a prophet to Yah. If there should be of you a prophet to Yah, this is Yah speaking to them, versus if there be a prophet among you, Yah will make himself known to him. So the difference here is a prophet to Yah. It's not just a prophet to Yah. So that was an omission of the name of Yah. I'll put that in brackets. Okay, and then we see here verse 8, spine tingling. This is spine tingling. It says, I will speak to him mouth to mouth, apparently, and not in dark speeches, and he has seen the glory of Yah. Versus the similitude of Yah, the resemblance of Yah, shall he behold. Past tense versus future. So we see the difference here is that Moses actually saw the glory of Yah, and he saw it, past tense. It's already been done, versus what we see here. He saw the similitude, not the glory, the similitude. So like the resemblance of in the future. Okay, a big difference in verse 9. The great anger of Yah was upon them, versus the anger of Yah was kindled against them. So in the sept, it was great, the anger, and it was upon them, versus, okay, the anger was burning against them and was threatening them, but was not really on them yet. No, Septuagint says differently. The anger is upon them, and he's very angry, not just a little angry, not just not burning up. No, he was very angry. Yah was angry at Aaron and Miriam, rather. Verse 10, we have an omission of white as snow. Leprous as snow. Actually, I don't see the word white. Where's white? Okay, white is not actually there. I say it was omitted. The reason why I say it was omitted is because the Masoretic has no idea what the Septuagint has no idea what the Masoretic says because it came before it. So they would only insert this word because of the Septuagint, just by the fact that it exists and existed before it. It can then look at its additions and brackets and say, okay, you added it, I'm going to add it too. So that's why I put that there. Okay. And next we see verse 11. So she was definitely white as snow because of the leprosy. Verse 11, we were ignorant wherein we sinned. So Aaron is saying we were ignorant. versus we have done foolishly. Okay, we made a mistake. No, they were ignorant. They did not know, and they said what they said. They acted ignorantly, not foolishly. And then verse 12, like death, let her not be as it were like death, as an abortion coming out of his mother's womb, when the disease, what disease? Devours half the flesh. Is that flesh eating disease? It's hard to say. And we see in the Masoretic, it's saying something completely different. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed. It's very rare we see the Bible talk about abortion, but we see here clearly it's an abortion coming out of the womb when the disease devours the half of the flesh. So I'm not sure what disease this is that is eating half of the flesh of the child or the aborted baby, but it's an interesting. Maybe it's just incomplete. Maybe it's an incomplete uh, premature baby and it was not fully developed. I'm not sure. Could be that, but it's interesting to note it is saying an abortion, not just anyone that's just dead when he comes out of his mother's womb. Okay. Verse 13, we have an addition. Heal her now. Doesn't say that. It just says, uh, heal her, not now. Heal her now, like they're spoiled brats. No, that's not. That is not what is happening here. They're asking for healing, but they cannot determine when that will take place. That's up to our Father to do that. For Yah to to uh, to do it. It's His will, not their will. Verse 14, set apart. Let her be set apart versus shut out. So she's not shut out. She's just set apart. She's quarantined. That's what it is essentially. Miriam is quarantined. Verse 15, separated outside the camp versus shut out from the camp again. Seems to be a continuous difference. And the significant difference, the last difference we notice is that was cleansed. Miriam was cleansed versus brought in again. No, she wasn't just brought in again. She had to be cleaned first of whatever she had, and seems to be leprosy. So I think one of the biggest questions people have regarding this chapter, and I don't usually get into this, but because this chapter is a point of contention and controversy, people use the scripture to justify that people can have interracial marriage or interracial relations with other people. And the Torah, the Septuagint, the law of God has no prohibitions. There are no prohibitions of marrying people of different uh, color of skin, different nationalities, people of different countries. The prohibition, in my opinion at least, is against marrying people who do not worship Yah. So if somebody is marrying someone or taking a wife or taking a woman who is not worshiping the same way and is not keeping the commandments, not fearing Yah, then that should not be consummated. That should not take place. Shouldn't even be entertained. Some people also use some various scriptures to uh, to say that look at the Levites. You know, the Levites can only marry within their tribe. They couldn't even marry outside their tribe. For instance, if I'm a Levite, I'm not allowed, I'm not permitted to marry a Israelite from Reuben, Joseph, Simeon, Gad, Asher, and so on. It has to be from Levi. And the reason that rule exists is because the Levites are a set apart gift to God, and they will not be able to propagate and continue their service if they intermingle with the other tribes. And, you know, there will be a little bit of contention saying, okay, what tribe am I now? Right? If a Levite woman marries, for example, a Reubenite man, their children will not be Levites; they will be Reubenite males. So you see how that takes away from the priesthood. So the women, specifically the women, need to marry Levite men. So where will they find the Levite men if the Levite men are taking wives of Benjamin, for example? So then who are the wives, who are the not the wives, who are the Levite women supposed to marry? There's going to be an imbalance. So that's why that exists, and that's my opinion as well. Uh, so that only applies to the Levites regarding uh, do not intermarry with other tribes. Uh, if someone from Dan marries someone from Asher, there's no prohibition against that. And likewise, we see with Moses, he clearly married, or not married, he took an Ethiopian woman. And I believe the book of Jasher describes this in more detail that he did take this Ethiopian woman, and he seems he did not marry her. I have to confirm, but it also describes how he did not consummate it. He didn't have sex with her. So that's an interesting angle to look at too, because whether you take the book of Jasher as canon as being acceptable, then you would say, okay, well he took her, but that was part of the culture. That was part of his requirement in order to be a king in Africa. He had to take an African woman. I guess that was their custom, possibly. So there is that argument as well. But I'm not sure why Moses, you know, if we're taking Jasher as truth, why did he not consummate that relationship? Well, I don't know. I really there's not enough information. But let's say you don't consider Jasher truth, so well, Moses took the woman, and you would assume that they had sexual relations. So again, I'm just going to sum up this chapter and say there is no prohibition. There are no prohibitions against people of different nationalities. I know people use the word race. We're really one race, the human race, but people of different cultural backgrounds and ethnicities and nationalities marrying each other, there's no prohibition against that. The concern here is spiritual upbringing, spiritual commonality. Uh, if it truly were prohibited, there would be a lot of birth defects, and you'd see a lot of consequences of this manifesting in a lot of birth defects and health issues and just a lot of bad things. I mean, personally, I know this is gonna step on people's toes and offend people, but when you have a cultural clash, if somebody from I know particular culture marries another person from a completely different culture, the families will not get along if they do not respect their customs. However, if they do, if they are very tolerable, appreciative, and respectful of each other's customs, it can work. But again, the concern isn't culture. It isn't about nationality. It's about the way of life. How do they raise their children? How do they see things? How do they worship their God? Uh, People nowadays throw out religion and are not religious at all. And we can see the consequences of this in our society where people are just, they don't have a compass. They are their own compass. And people are wandering around like sheep and their priorities are so messed up. But I think ever since 2020, people are searching for meaning and people are finding the truth of the scripture. And even this channel, I was surprised how it's really grown over the last year or so. People are searching for the truth and trying to find meaning in their lives, and not just from the scripture, but the true scriptures. Because again, the Masoretic text, as valuable and profitable as it was for me to study, the Septuagint is on a whole new universe. It's way beyond what the Masoretic uh, presents. We actually see, from what I gather so far, the real God. We see his true attributes. We see his mercy. We see his faith. We see his justice. We see his love. We see his compassion. We see his logic, his reason, how he's very patient, how he's very understanding. just how kind he is and how wonderful his law is. I always thought his law was great, but until I'm reading it now in the Septuagint, it's incredible. It's beyond anything I could say. It's overwhelmingly beautiful and just really from the mind of God. It's godly beyond any human understanding. It's mind blowing. So thank you very much for your time. That's all I have for today. Numbers chapter 12. Peace be with you and Yah bless you. May Yah make your way prosperous. And until next time, we'll look at Numbers chapter 13, Numbers chapter 13. Tomorrow, Yah willing, please give this video a like and subscribe. Smash the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so that other people will be guided to not just the scriptures, but the truth of the scriptures from the original, the one that Moses wrote, which was then translated into Greek before Yeshua came to the earth, I might add. So once again, this is Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace and shalom.